After my fiancée went drinking with her childhood sweetheart again and didn't come home all night, I decided to break up with her. Everyone scoffed at me, thinking that this time I, the so-called love beggar, would be the first to bow my head. Until there was another woman by my side. Then she finally came to her senses, her eyes misty with tears as she grabbed me and begged me to turn back, saying that she regretted it. I've explained it to you so many times. William is my good friend. We grew up together like we shared the same pair of pants, and now he's my investor. What's wrong with having a drink together? Can you stop being so paranoid all the time? If I could be with him, we would have been together ages ago. There wouldn't be any room for you at all. Emma, still looking a bit drunk, was full of impatience. I sat on the sofa with a dark face, having stayed up all night waiting for her to come back. I could hardly remember how many times Emma had stayed out all night. Just having a drink? I opened the picture I had saved on my phone and threw it in front of her. The photo was sent to me by William in the middle of the night. On the messy big bed, Emma curled up and leaned against William, their posture looking rather intimate. In addition to this photo, he also provocatively sent a message. As long as I want, she'll be mine. He retracted it less than half a minute after sending it, but I was quick-eyed and immediately took a screenshot. Yeah, you two are good friends, the kind of good friends who can drink together and end up sleeping in the same bed in a hotel. Emma picked up the phone, and when she saw the photo in it, her face instantly turned ashen. It seemed that William wasn't lying. This photo wasn't fake either. Emma had indeed checked into a hotel with him last night. I suppressed the pain in my heart and my eyes were full of disappointment. So, are you still going to argue that there's nothing between you two at this point? Seeing the disappointment in my eyes, Emma finally put away the impatience on her face, sat beside me, took my hand, and said in a gentle voice, I blacked out from drinking. William didn't know my address, so he took me to the hotel. He was worried about me and took care of me all night. We really didn't do anything. Look, my clothes are all on properly in the photo. When you were drunk, you didn't let me pick you up, but you went to a hotel with another man. Is that appropriate? I interrupted her obviously perfunctory explanation. Emma's beautiful face turned cold again. After all this, you're just doubting me. Since you suspect that I'm being unfaithful to you, I don't think there's any need for us to get married. As soon as the words were out, Emma realized what she had said. A trace of unease flashed across her face quickly. She bit her lip and said, James, I didn't mean that. Fine. Emma was taken aback. She seemed unable to believe what she had heard. What did you say? I looked at her calmly. Let's not get married. She was silent for 2 seconds, and then the familiar mockery appeared on her face again. Are you serious? You won't regret it? Emma clearly didn't believe that I was for real. Perhaps because we had broken up and made up so many times in the past, she had long since stopped taking it seriously. I repeated it seriously again. Yeah, we're not getting married. Let's break up. This wasn't the first time Emma had used the threat of not getting married to pressure me. Ever since her childhood friend William came back from abroad and started investing in Emma's company 2 years ago. The wedding date we had already agreed on kept getting postponed. We had countless arguments because of this, and we had said things like breaking up out of anger more than once or twice. But only this time, I meant it. But Emma clearly didn't think so. She sneered. Fine, fine. If we're breaking up, what are you still doing here? I got up and went into the bedroom, and soon pushed out a suitcase. I had packed it last night after seeing the photo sent by William. When Emma saw this, her face instantly turned ugly. I pulled the luggage in front of her, looked at her slightly haggard face due to the hangover, and let out a sigh. You have a weak stomach. Drink less alcohol in the future. I've divided the ingredients for the hangover soup into portions and put them in the cabinet in the kitchen. Remember to drink it. The several nutritional supplements you often take are in. Enough. Emma interrupted me with a sneer. Since we're breaking up, why are you pretending to care and saying all this? As if to vent her anger, she rushed to the entrance and suddenly pulled the door open wide. I don't want to see you anymore. Get out. Get out of here. I took a deep breath, pulled the suitcase past her, and said, Emma, goodbye. The door slammed shut behind me with a loud bang. The huge noise was enough to show how angry Emma was. At the entrance of the residential area, I met William. There was no doubt that it was William who had brought Emma back. He was sitting in a Maybach. When he saw me coming out with my luggage, he got out of the car and blocked my way. His peach blossom eyes were full of mockery. Yo, isn't this James? Finally thrown out by Emma? I gave him a cold glance and didn't want to pay attention to him. But he insisted on coming over and blocking my way. It would have been much better if you had known your place earlier. A man like you who lives off Emma is simply not worthy of her. I stopped, and sneered. Yes, I'm not worthy. You and her seem quite a match. I wish you two a sweet relationship and a long and happy marriage. I pushed him away forcefully and hailed a taxi. From the rearview mirror, I saw William spit in the direction I was leaving, and then he rushed into the residential area in a hurry. I smiled self-deprecatingly. What a loving childhood sweetheart. I'm afraid William had been waiting here all the time, just waiting for me to have an argument with Emma, and then he could show up as the understanding big brother. Now the two of them seem more compatible, making me, the fiancé, seem narrow-minded and unreasonable. But there was a time when Emma would never have been so impatient with me. I met Emma in the university drama club. At that time, she played the much-admired princess, and I played a tree that the princess leaned against. If Emma hadn't missed her step and fallen from the high platform, and I hadn't caught her and had my arm broken as a result, such an ordinary person would probably never have had any connection with a wealthy young lady like her. During my stay in the hospital to recuperate from my injury, she often came to visit me. As time went by, we got together. At that time, Emma was still a coquettish and pretty little girl, with a bit of the arrogance of a wealthy young lady. It's hard to associate her with the current image of a decisive and cold-hearted female CEO. When did the change start? Probably in our senior year of university. Emma's father suddenly brought back an illegitimate son. This made Emma, who was used to having everything go smoothly, taste the feeling of setback for the first time. She realized for the first time that just because she was a daughter, in her father's eyes, she didn't deserve to be the heir. Emma felt an unprecedented sense of crisis. She didn't want to share her father's love with others, let alone the family property of the Emma family. But at the banquet, this illegitimate son could stand beside Emma's father openly and be introduced by him to his business partners. And Emma was only worthy of being sent by her father to the group of women to chat about some insignificant entertainment gossip. That night, she came to my dormitory at school wearing a high-end custom-made dress. She hugged me tightly. It was as if a drowning person was holding onto a life-saving log. Her burning tears soaked my clothes and left a mark on my heart. That night, she cried and swore to me, "I will never let the illegitimate son take everything away from me. I want my dad to know that although I'm a girl, I can also make a career for myself." Since then, Emma changed her former laid-back attitude of indulging in pleasure and started her own business. But starting a business is difficult. What's more, Emma had studied music before. It wasn't until she encountered setbacks one after another that she realized that her experience of playing the cello in the Vienna Golden Hall couldn't make her company run more smoothly. Emma's father scolded her for being foolhardy in arranged blind dates with well-matched young men for her, planning to marry her off for a marriage alliance. It was Emma who threatened to commit suicide and tried her best to get one last chance to start a business. She made a vow to her father that this was the last time. If she didn't succeed, she would give up and come back to listen to her father and get married. So when she started her business at that time, Emma wasn't just trying to prove herself, but also fighting for her freedom. Fighting for the freedom to be with me. I can't deny that Emma loved me very much at that time. So for the sake of our relationship having a happy ending, she tried her best to stand up against her father's oppression. She created a small world for our relationship. So I also threw myself into her business without hesitation. Sometimes I really can't figure out why Emma and I have become like this. Clearly, we both have the same goal and are working hard to give each other a stable future. But still, in the 7th year of our relationship, our feelings reached the point of falling apart. When William returned to the country, he frequently sent me text messages with ambiguous meanings. At first, I was angry and jealous. But after arguing with Emma several times, looking at her indifferent expression and hearing her complaints that I was making a big deal out of nothing, it was like a bucket of cold water being poured over my head. Rather than saying that William's existence bothered me, it was more that Emma's attitude made it almost impossible for me to feel her love anymore. Her attitude wasn't like this just for a day. William's appearance seemed to lift the last fig leaf of our relationship. Sitting in the taxi, I looked at the street scenery flashing by quickly and suddenly felt relieved. They say there is the 7-year itch, and every relationship will enter a period of burnout after a long time of being plain and routine. Perhaps the fate between Emma and me was just that. On the day I left Emma, I submitted my resignation. In fact, it was just going through the motions. Because in Ruoxue Technology, the company that Emma and I built from scratch and grew together, I had already been stripped of my power. After Luna, the director of human resources, received my resignation application in the system, she immediately called me. "James, have you mentioned the resignation to Emma?" There was a lot of surprise in her tone. She seemed to think that I was joking about resigning. Well, that's understandable. Luna was Emma's college classmate and had always believed that I was a Phoenix man with ill intentions. Over the years, she had not been stingy in reminding Emma to be careful of me. The first time I knew about this was in the 3rd year after the company was established. That year, we secured a substantial investment. The elated Emma, rarely being generous, held an end-of-year party. After I took many glasses of wine for Emma, I hid in the lounge to rest with my eyes closed. Emma came in to touch up her makeup, and Luna followed closely behind. Neither of them noticed me. They were chatting casually, and I was dozing off on the sofa inside. Until I heard Luna mention my name. "Emma, you should pay more attention to James. Now, the people under him only recognize James and not you." Emma didn't think much of it. James is also the boss of the company. Isn't it good that the subordinates recognize him? But Luna advised Emma, "Emma, it's true that James is a co-founder, but after all, you are the big boss of the company." Emma smiled and told Luna not to think too much. She said that everyone in the world might betray her, but James wouldn't. I was very touched at that time. But I never would have thought that just 2 years later, my power in the company would be gradually eroded, and I would eventually retreat to the background. Luna's voice on the other end of the phone brought me back to my senses. "Process the resignation. Emma and I have already broken up." Luna's breath on the other end of the phone suddenly stopped. After a long while, she tentatively asked me, "James, you're not joking, are you? You two are already engaged, and I'm still waiting to have your wedding candies." I sneered. This Luna's ability to be an opportunist had become more and more sophisticated over the years. She always egged others on and said that she wanted to have the wedding candies of Emma and me in my presence, but behind my back, she didn't hesitate to persuade Emma to keep me in check. Even after William appeared, she took the initiative to create various opportunities for him to meet Emma. As soon as I hung up Luna's call, Emma called me right away. I rejected the call, and then I received several text messages from her. "James, are you for real? You want to resign? Enough is enough. Stop being naughty, or I will really take it seriously. If you resign voluntarily, I won't give you any compensation. You won't be able to take a single cent from the company." I smiled self-deprecatingly. After being in love with her for 7 years, did she really think that I was a Phoenix man who was greedy for wealth and could be controlled with money? Whatever. I don't care. My reply made her stop immediately. After that, Emma never called me again or sent me any messages. And I got the resignation letter as I wished, and then I joined Yunchuan Technology right away. After passing the probation period, in order to welcome my official joining, the department was so generous that they directly reserved a high-end private kitchen. It happened to be the one that I had invited Emma to several times, and she had promised but repeatedly stood me up. What's even more coincidental was that I actually saw Emma, whom I hadn't seen for a while, here. She had lost some weight. She was sitting in a private room with Luna and several of her girlfriends whom I was very familiar with. William was the only male among them. "Emma, did you really break up with James? Did he really leave without asking for a single cent?" someone asked her. Hearing my name, I couldn't help but stop and peek inside. A trace of gloom flashed in Emma's eyes. William sighed beside her. "Emma and I have a good relationship, but James was always being suspicious, which put a lot of pressure on Emma. It's better that they broke up." Emma looked bored and didn't say anything. "Yeah, it's better that they broke up. James's family background is too ordinary. If it weren't for him dragging Emma to start Ruoxue Technology, I'm afraid Emma's father wouldn't even give him a second glance. James doesn't have much ability himself. He has been relying on Emma for the past 2 years. He's just a man who lives off a woman. I think Emma wasted 7 years of her youth on James. If they broke up, she should ask him for compensation." Cut. James finally latched onto someone as good as Emma. How could he let go so easily? I think if Emma ignores him for another month, he'll come crawling back like a lapdog to make up. These words made everyone laugh. Only Emma and Luna didn't laugh. Luna seemed to be lost in thought, as if her mind was wandering. And Emma silently drank glass after glass of wine. William looked at her with some concern beside her. When I saw this scene, my heart was as calm as still water, and I lifted my feet and left the door of their private room. My new colleagues were very enthusiastic. I was an executive who joined the company from outside. I had thought that the colleagues in the department would give me a hard time no matter what, but unexpectedly, they were sincerely welcoming me. Damn, we've finally waited for the director of RD to arrive. I can finally take a break. I'm really not cut out to be a senior executive. The one who said this was Henry, the department supervisor who had temporarily acted as the head of the RD department of Yunchuan Technology. There was a look of relief on his face, which didn't seem to be fake. The other colleagues egged on and said, "Tisk, every time we have a meeting, Henry is all nervous and timid in front of the boss. James is awesome. He can stay calm even when Mount Tai is collapsing. We'll rely on you from now on, James." James was poached by the boss with a large sum of money. He was a technical expert in Ruoxue technology before. Yunchuan Technology will definitely allow James to fully display his ambitions. Yunchuan Technology and Ruoxue Technology founded by Emma are in the same field. But unlike Ruoxue Technology, which has been struggling, Yunchuan Technology has strong capital behind it and has risen very rapidly. To be praised like this by my new colleagues, to be honest, I was a bit flattered. The team atmosphere here is completely different from that in Ruoxue. I used to be a co-founder of Ruoxue Technology and also the CTO of the company. The position seemed glamorous, but the majority of the shares were in Emma's hands, and she was the real decision-maker of the company. In fact, at the beginning of the business, our business philosophies for the company were not very consistent. I wanted to polish the products well and move forward steadily step by step. Emma was different. She was under the pressure from her father and wanted to obtain money and investment in the shortest time possible. So she wanted to do whatever product was popular. We often argued about this. But what really brought our contradictions to the surface was a project approval meeting 2 years ago. Emma saw the popularity of smart home products in the market and immediately wanted the company to catch up with this wave of dividends and seize the market. However, Ruoxue itself started with intelligent warehousing and logistics. Investing time and money in another industry was tantamount to destroying the foundation laid before. As the person in charge of the technical department, I was the first to oppose it. And the human resources department, the president's office, and the finance department, led by Luna, all supported Emma. So this project approval meeting ended abruptly. We started to have frequent arguments privately. At the most serious moment, the conflict even spread to the company. She once slammed the table and roared at me in the office, not caring about my dignity at all. She pointed at the company's door and told me to get out. "James, don't think that just because you're in charge of the technical staff, you can challenge me. I'm the one who provides the money. I'm the CEO. As long as I'm willing to spend money, I can hire as many CTOs who are more outstanding than you. It's just because you're my boyfriend that I let you sit in this position. Otherwise, with your qualifications, you don't deserve to be a CTO at all." It's a great taboo in management for the discord among senior management to be seen by everyone. What's more, in order to teach me a lesson, Emma followed Luna's advice. Intentionally or unintentionally, she used the human resources and finance departments to put pressure on the department I was in charge of. Either she made my people go for employee training today, or she rejected the budget report tomorrow, saying that she wanted to reduce costs and increase efficiency. During that period, a lot of people who followed me left, and the atmosphere in the whole department was very oppressive. Later, most of the newly recruited employees basically saw the situation clearly and took Emma's side. Sometimes in the pantry or the restroom, I could hear their whispers. To be honest, the CTO doesn't have any real power. Many of his suggestions are quite reasonable, but unfortunately, the boss doesn't want to listen. As a partner, he's really in a sorry state. It's also extremely miserable to work with him. He simply can't fight for our interests at all. It's just the boss's autocratic decision-making. Well, we're just here to work and earn money. Things like the company's values and core corporate culture have nothing to do with us. We just do what the boss tells us to do. I think James is just too naive. How long can he keep up his enthusiasm? Yeah. My enthusiasm couldn't last much longer. Under Emma's constant hassle and disruption, I even started to doubt my own abilities, wondering if I really wasn't worthy of my position. After that, as my power was gradually stripped away, I became a mere figurehead and a marginalized person in the company. Emma initiated the project again, and no one opposed it this time. The company started to invest a large amount of money in the research and development of smart home products. And the problem of insufficient follow-up funds was solved by William, who had returned from abroad. He became the largest investor in Ruoxue. To Emma, He was like a god descending from the sky, solving her urgent problem. Since then, Emma has become even more impatient with me. It was also from then on that many headhunters started to contact me. They all came to poach me for Yunchuan technology. But at that time, I still hadn't given up on Emma, so I rejected them all. However, what I didn't expect was that Yunchuan technology had been persistently extending an olive branch to me for the past 2 years. So on the day I broke up with Emma, I chose to accept the offer from Yunchuan. Looking back now, it was an extremely correct choice. Henry toasted me. James, we'll follow you from now on. After he took the lead, many of my colleagues took turns to pour me drinks. I couldn't stand it anymore and quickly admitted defeat and begged for mercy. I found a gap to go to the restroom to wash my face and take a breather. But when I came out, I accidentally bumped into someone. Sorry. I apologized to the other person and was about to leave, but unexpectedly, I was stopped. James. James. I turned my head and was surprised to find that the person I bumped into was actually Luna. At this moment, she was pulling at the hem of my clothes. When she saw me turn my head, she quickly let go of her hand. I was a bit puzzled and also faintly annoyed. Perhaps my hostility was too obvious, as Luna blushed and stammered. James, long time no see. Are you also here for a meal? Have you seen Emma? I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't understand why she, who had always hated me, would take the initiative to greet me. So I just nodded casually and was about to leave. But Luna actually directly blocked my way. You saw it too, right? Emma already has William by her side. I interrupted her, as you wished, I've broken up with her. In the future, who she's with is her own business. There was no need for her to remind me again about the ambiguous relationship between Emma and William. I was about to leave, but Luna kept blocking my way. Her eyes suddenly lit up. That's right, you've already broken up. So, did she deliberately stop me here just to laugh at me? Seeing that I was impatient, a cautious expression actually appeared on her face. James, since you and Emma have already broken up, then, can I be with you? I thought that maybe I had drunk too much and was having an illusion. Otherwise, how could Luna, who had always looked down on me and hated me, possibly confess to me? Seeing that I didn't answer, she took a step closer to me. The distance was so close that I could smell the faint smell of alcohol on her. Oh, so it wasn't that I had drunk too much. She had drunk too much. So I took 2 steps back and bypassed her. You're drunk. I'll pretend I didn't hear what you just said. Unexpectedly, Luna wouldn't let me go and quickly chased after me. James. I'm not drunk. I'm sincerely confessing to you. What do you think? Do you still have feelings for Emma in your heart? Let me tell you, she has already slept with William. Miss Emma and young Master William are childhood sweethearts and a perfect match in terms of family background. You're just someone she played around with when she was young and didn't know any better. Do you really think you could marry her? Give up. This society is very realistic. Ordinary people should be with ordinary people. I stopped. What Luna said was really ridiculous. Yes, my family background is ordinary, so according to her logic, should be with her, who also has an ordinary family background? Just as I was about to retort, my arm was suddenly held by someone, and a faint fragrance wafted over. This lady, what you said about being a good match in terms of family background does make some sense. You are indeed an ordinary person, but unfortunately, James is not an ordinary person. Sorry, you're too late. I looked at the young woman with short hair beside me in surprise. She was wearing a high-end custom-made business suit, with a delicate makeup and a strong aura. Sophia. She raised her hand to stop me from speaking and turned her head to look at the dazed Luna. So, lady, what do you want with my fiancé? The word fiancé instantly drained the color from Luna's face. Under her sharp gaze, Luna's lips trembled, and she didn't say anything more shocking. She covered her face and fled in a hurry. General Manager Sophia. I couldn't help but laugh. Now I can't clear my name even if I jump into the Yellow River. Luna would definitely tell Emma about this. Sophia, that is, the president of Yunchuan Technology, let go of my hand and winked at me. It's true. You're my fiancé now. Becoming Sophia's fiancé was really a case of being pushed into something. When I went for an interview at Yunchuan Technology, I found out that the boss of the company was actually my high school classmate Sophia. So a proper interview turned into a chat about the old days. Back then, I was the top student in science in the whole school, and Sophia was the second. She often said that she wanted to defeat me and become the first, but she didn't achieve it even in the college entrance examination. After more than a decade apart, I left Emma with nothing. But she had already become an outstanding young entrepreneur. She was rated as a representative figure of the power of women in the new era by business media and was young and promising. When we met suddenly, I couldn't help but feel inferior. Under Emma's suppression, I actually had great doubts about my own abilities. The first time I saw Sophia, I even suspected. Was she giving me a job just because of our old classmate relationship? Unexpectedly, she told me not to sell myself short. James, I'm a businesswoman. I won't let an incompetent person sit in such an important position. Otherwise, why would I ask headhunters to poach you for 2 consecutive years? Of course, it's because I recognize the products you've developed. I have studied your company's products in depth. Ruoshue didn't pay attention to the after-sales project maintenance, resulting in a not-so-good market feedback. But this is a problem of subsequent project management, not a problem of the RD you were responsible for. I believe that your abilities can be maximally utilized in my company. I hadn't been affirmed like this for a long time, and I was deeply touched. Just as we were having a pleasant conversation, the powerful capital behind Sophia, that is, her father, suddenly burst into the office. He was shouting for Sophia to go on a blind date. Sophia was extremely annoyed, so she grabbed me, winked at me, and announced to her father that I was her boyfriend. So, I somehow became Sophia's boyfriend, and not long after, I was upgraded to a fiancé. Sophia and I chatted and laughed as we returned to the private room. As soon as the big boss, Sophia, showed up, she pushed the atmosphere of the dinner party to a new high. Sophia is a very charming leader. She is very serious and rigorous at work, and very easygoing in private. Under her leadership, the whole atmosphere of the company is busy and tense but not overly strained. All the employees who work with her approve of her philosophy, so the whole Yunchuan functions as a united entity, and everyone demonstrates a strong sense of cohesion. Ruoshue, on the other hand, is completely the opposite. At least in the past 2 years, the various departments within the company are almost in disarray. After having a good meal and enough to drink, a group of us left the restaurant noisily. Coincidentally, we bumped into Emma, William, and their group at the entrance of the restaurant. Unfortunately, we happened to come across the scene where William was confessing to Emma that I saw William kneeling down on one knee, holding a bouquet of bright red roses in his hands, and looking at Emma affectionately. Emma, I came back to the country specifically for you. In the past 2 years, I've seen you fighting alone and establishing a firm foothold in the business world. It's been so difficult for you all the way. I feel sorry for you and hope to be your support. Please be my girlfriend. Emma's girlfriends all cheered, say yes, say yes. Emma frowned slightly, her expression a bit startled, and there was not a trace of joy on her face. She looked around blankly and happened to meet my gaze. In an instant, expressions such as disbelief and surprise flashed across Emma's face, and finally it turned into arrogance. She stood there with her chin slightly raised. It seemed that she was waiting for me to take the initiative to walk over. I calmly retracted my gaze and, surrounded by my colleagues, walked past them. Emma shouted angrily behind me. James! Seeing that I kept ignoring her, Emma simply left William behind and chased after me. James, you stop right there. I sighed and turned around. Emma rushed in front of me. Where have you been these days? You haven't called me for so long. Do you know that I'm not only busy with company matters but also worried about your safety? I'm really exhausted. I'm pretty tired too. Did Emma think that my actions of breaking up with her and moving out for 2 months were still just me being angry with her? After all, she was still too confident, thinking that I would never be willing to break up with her. Sure enough, she continued. Forget it. You've been making a fuss for so long. It's time to calm down. Move back. I'll have some free time next month. Let's pick a day to meet our parents and discuss our marriage. I looked at William, who was slowly standing up behind her. His face was very ugly. Emma's girlfriends also looked at us in great surprise, and Luna was hiding behind the crowd with an unreadable expression. We've already broken up. Emma pressed her temple irritably. Stop being naughty. There are a lot of things to deal with in the company. You know what I'm working so hard for in starting this business. If it weren't for our future, I wouldn't have to work so hard. James, can you be more understanding? I'm really too tired. I interrupted Emma. William is a nice guy. You're a good match in terms of family background, and your father likes him too. If you're with him, you won't have to be so tired. She furrowed her brows and looked me up and down. After confirming that I wasn't just being stubborn or angry, a look of shame and annoyance appeared on her face. James, I'll give you one more chance. Take back what you just said, or. She turned her head and saw William standing behind her, gritted her teeth and said, or I'll really be with William. All right. I wish you a long and happy marriage. I gave my plain congratulations. Emma's face turned pale in an instant, but she still stubbornly bit her lip and looked at William. I promise to be your girlfriend. William got what he wanted, but his face didn't look particularly happy. After all, it was obvious to anyone with eyes that Emma was just being angry with me. But he still liked Emma very much. He stepped forward and put his arm around her shoulder, barely managing a smile at me. Thank you, James. I'll take good care of Emma. I hope you can also find your own happiness. Emma deliberately leaned against William and looked at me provocatively. William is much better than you. If we break up, I'll only get better and better without you. But without me, you're nothing. Who said that? As soon as Emma finished her provocative words, Sophia stood in front of me with a cold and pretty face. It's you who don't deserve James' deep affection all these years. When Emma saw Sophia standing beside me, the complacency that she had just had disappeared without a trace. Who are you? Sophia smiled softly and also leaned against me. I'm James' fiancé. Emma suddenly understood and then gritted her teeth. James. Ha, so that's why you suddenly wanted to break up with me. You already had someone else lined up. How dare you accuse me of having something with William? Shut up. Sophia directly interrupted Emma. It's you who was flirting with other men while having a boyfriend, right? It's also you who relied on James' research and development to establish a firm foothold in the market all these years, but then kicked him away. You've been doing all kinds of PUA on James, making him think that he really didn't have the ability. You took away his shares and made him a figurehead. Just admit it. You're the one who got tired of James first and fell in love with someone else. Emma's face looked ugly. Sophia's gaze swept over the girlfriends behind Emma. When she saw Luna, she paused and sneered. Come to think of it, you suppressed James and stripped him of his power in the company. Presumably, you listened to your good friend and subordinate here? It's ridiculous. James was with you for 7 years, but you didn't trust him. Instead, you believed some villains around you. You're so stupid. Sophia took out her phone, opened a video, and threw it to Emma. Take a good look at how you've been played for a fool by your good sister, you idiot. A voice came from the phone. Since you've already broken up with Emma, then, can I be with you? It was exactly the voice of Luna blocking me and confessing to me in the restaurant before. Luna was completely stunned. Emma, who was staring fixedly at the video on the phone, was also stunned. She also heard Luna's slander of her later. After the video ended, she looked at Luna behind her in disbelief. You. Seeing Emma glaring at her, Luna closed her eyes and decided to go all out. Yes, I like James. So what? Emma rushed up and slapped her. How dare you? James is my boyfriend. But you've broken up, haven't you? Luna, who had always been submissive in front of Emma, suddenly became tough. You've broken up. Why can't I confess? Emma's face turned pale with anger. But you've been trying to drive a wedge between me and him. You said that James had too much power in the company and needed to be suppressed. You said that the people in the RD department only recognized him and not me. You said that James was just a Phoenix man and was with me just to cross social classes. Luna sneered. Yes, I said all those things. But did I force you to do all these things? Emma, if you had really been wholeheartedly in love with James, you wouldn't have been influenced by me. To put it bluntly, isn't that what you thought in your heart too? Emma was left speechless by her and was so angry that she wanted to slap her a few more times. William stopped her. Emma, calm down. How can I calm down? I treated her with all my heart, but she actually tried to steal my man. Luna, I'm telling you, from now on, you're fired. I was impatient with watching this cheesy drama of them falling out as sisters. I took Sophia's hand and left. My colleagues in the department had already left tactfully. Sophia and I walked in silence for a while, and then I suddenly asked her. How did you know that I was suppressed and stripped of my power in Ruoshue? Also, how did she know so clearly about the entanglement between me, Emma, and William? Sophia, who was always straightforward, looked a bit shy and couldn't say anything for a long time. Her fair ears gradually turned completely red under my gaze. You've already guessed it, haven't you? Why do you still want me to say it? She pushed me away angrily and strode ahead. I stood there looking at her back and couldn't help but laugh. When she stood up for me and listed out all the grievances I had suffered in the past few years, I had already guessed it. So I quickened my pace and caught up with her. Wait for me, fiancé. It's rare to have someone protect me so carefully. If I still pretended not to know, wouldn't that be too heartless? After sending Sophia home, I actually saw Emma and William waiting downstairs at the place where I'm currently renting. Emma had been crying, and William, rarely, didn't try to soothe her. Instead, he was smoking irritably beside her. When he saw me coming, William looked up at me. He, who had always been arrogant in front of me, rarely lowered his head, and his eyes were full of bloodshot. Emma insisted on coming to find you. James, I'm giving Emma back to you. This time, I admit defeat. Damn it. What kind of tragic drama were these two putting on in front of me? I was at my wit's end. I grabbed William, who was about to leave dejectedly, and gritted my teeth. Take her away. Take her away now. Emma, who was crying, looked up. Seeing me like this, she felt even more aggrieved. James. It's all my fault. I was misled by Luna. She was the one trying to drive a wedge between us. Let's not break up, okay? I apologize to you. I'll give you shares in Ruoxue in the future. You'll still be the CTO and co-founder of our company. Please, don't be with other women, okay? No. Emma, don't shift the blame for our problems onto others. Admit it, there have been problems in our relationship for a long time. Otherwise, how could you have been so easily influenced by Luna? Emma bit her lip and remained silent, looking at me with misty eyes. After being stripped of my power in the past 2 years, I've thought about this question countless times. But in the end, I had to accept the reality, that is, Emma didn't love me as much as before, and we encountered the 7-year itch. The passionate feelings we had when we were young gradually dissipated after going through the trials of reality. What separated us wasn't just William. There were also differences in our concepts, the pressure from our parents' generation, and the lack of support from the people around us. Perhaps in these 2 years, my feelings for Emma had also long since faded, which was why I could let go so quickly. Your feelings for me now are just because you're not used to the change. Let's part on good terms. Emma was unwilling to accept this reality. That night, I laid everything out in the open in front of William, but she still acted as if she didn't understand and clung to me again. She even firmly believed that Sophia was someone I found to make her angry, a pawn to make her jealous. Emma almost came to my place to wait for me every day. James, I know you wanted me to value you. Now I understand how sad you were when I got close to William. It was my fault. Now I've also tasted this feeling, and I deserve it. But please don't give up on me, okay? I was extremely annoyed. With her clinging to me like this, how could I openly pursue Sophia? Now I have someone I like, and I want to start a brand new life for myself. Emma, I've said it, let's part on good terms. If you keep pestering me like this, just as I was able to co-found Ruoxue with you, I can also destroy it. As a co-founder, no one knew the company better than me. If Emma continued to pester me, I really considered cooperating with Ruoxue's competitors. Emma understood the hidden meaning of my words. Her face showed a conflicted expression. The company was still more important to her. After I issued the harsh warning, Emma reduced her pestering of me. But she still couldn't resist sending harassing messages. However, Ruoxue Technology did run into trouble after all. Luna, who had been fired by Emma, held a grudge. As Emma's confidant in the past, Luna had also accessed a lot of the company's core information. After being fired, she sold this information to other competing companies, causing several projects of Ruoxue to fail. As the CEO, Emma was so busy dealing with this mess that she was at her wit's end. During this period, William had been by her side to help, providing both money and effort, and finally managed to stabilize the company. But Ruoxue Technology was severely damaged, its revenue dropped significantly, and the valuation given to it by investment institutions kept decreasing. In addition, Emma had stubbornly insisted on developing smart home products back then. Unfortunately, she was one step behind and was squeezed out by the fierce market competition, making it almost impossible for her to gain a foothold. She quickly dropped out of the ranking of new tech upstarts. Even with William's investment as a guarantee, Ruoxue's finances still looked very bad. When Emma's father learned about this, he gave her a good scolding and ordered her to stop her endeavors and get married immediately. Emma finally decided to marry William. The night before they got their marriage certificate, she sent me a long text message. It was filled with her mental journey during this period. She wrote at the end, "James, I've been constantly thinking about the past recently. If I hadn't been so stubborn, so eager for quick success, and had agreed with your concepts, perhaps Ruoxue would have gone further, and we would have been able to stay together forever as we vowed back then, right? I didn't reply to her but directly blocked and deleted her. Emma's beautiful face turned cold again. I finally managed to win Sophia's heart. And just as Sophia had said, in Yunchuan technology, my abilities were maximally utilized. Under our joint management, Yunchuan technology developed and grew, and it already showed the trend of becoming the leader in the industry. As for Ruoshui technology, it had long since gone bankrupt and been restructured, and was merged by a company under William's name. Emma ultimately failed to fulfill the vow she made back then. She didn't manage to develop and expand Ruoshui and prove herself in front of her father. Instead, she gradually retreated to the background, changing from a capable and glamorous female CEO to the very person she once hated the most. She became William's full-time housewife. 3 years later, I accompanied Sophia, who was now my wife, to attend a business forum with the theme of her power. She was about to give a speech as a special guest of this forum, sharing her entrepreneurial story as a well-known female entrepreneur and encouraging working women to strive for success. At the dinner party after the forum ended, I saw William. He was holding a wine glass and moving around in the circle of fame and fortune, busy expanding his network and discussing business, looking very high-spirited. And his wife, Emma, was among the group of housewives, chatting about gossip and trivial matters. After not seeing her for a few years, she had become much fatter and older. The determination and stubbornness on her face were no longer there, replaced by false flattery. It was said that Emma's father later made a will, leaving her with less than 10% of the shares, and the rest all went to her younger brother, the illegitimate son. She was so dissatisfied that she made a big scene, causing her father to have a stroke and become hemiplegic, and he was still lying in the hospital. The illegitimate son took the opportunity to rise to power and, through a series of manipulations, even took away the less than 10% of the shares from Emma. She had completely lost her support and could only rely on William for her livelihood. But it seemed that William and she had also encountered the 7-year itch. There were many other women around the childhood sweetheart who had once been deeply in love with her. When Sophia saw that I had noticed Emma, she whispered in my ear. She's been busy dealing with mistresses these years, and her life has been quite miserable. Look, she was most afraid of you taking away the company back then, but in the end, it still fell into William's hands, and she became a kept woman. Are you satisfied with her ending? What are you thinking? They're all just passers-by. I don't care about it at all. I smiled and gently rubbed Sophia's head. The past was already in the past. For me, managing the present life well was the most important thing.